Welcome to the main Slate Mashup, hosted by Season-Long DFS. I'm Jamie, and I'm joined by Rich and Liam, as per usual. How are you boys doing?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate, not bad. And you, Richie boy?
Doing well, yeah. So, it feels like the 42nd of March, 2020. Feels like just another day. Lockdown still. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm glad you boys are both good. I'm glad you boys are both good. Just before we get on with, obviously, why we're all here, the main Slate Mashup and the Saturday-Sunday slate, let's have a quick chat about Season-Long DFS Year 2, which finished last week. Well, it was last week. And congratulate the winners, the top 3 winners. As you can see, if you are watching on YouTube, we have the spreadsheet with all the total scores on there. And mgarvey14 is his Twitter handle, came in first place with a total score of 2,678.68 points, with an average of 157.57 over 17 weeks of DFS, which we were talking about earlier, which is pretty impressive. You've got Brown T10, finished second at 2,554.93 points. His average was 150 over the 17 weeks. So Garvey 14 won by 130 points. So it's pretty safe for him, really. He had an 80-90 point lead going into the final week. You got the boy in third, who got 2,552 points. So there was literally 1.99 points between second and third place. So congratulations to the top 3. Rich, would you like me to tell you where you finished?
You don't need to scroll that much. That's fine.
You finished in 28th with 2,253.4 points.
I mean, was it the way I said no? Don't tell me.
No, I'm going to. I felt like I had to.
Torture.
Liam, you finished in 5th on 2,492.76 points. How do you feel about that? Happy? Disappointed?
Would have liked to obviously break into the podium, but just there's so high scoring the last week, wasn't it? That it was really hard. Yeah, I think it's scored like 240 to get into the top 3 in the end.
Yeah,
which is never going to happen. But I'm happy with 5th. Hopefully next year go a few spots better, maybe.
Well, maybe. Well, Brown T10, Luke, who finished second this year, finished second last year as well. So he's
very nice,
pretty consistent. I finished in 4th with 2,527.48 points. I finished 4th last year, and yeah, I'm pissed off that I finished in 4th. I literally would have rather finished in 7th or 8th rather than 4th, because you're kind of close, but you're just not close enough. So yeah, that's the winners, the top 3. Just want to say thank you to everyone who got involved in this. I thought year 1 was a success. I think year 2 was a bigger success. We doubled the amount of people in it. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. Only had good things to say about it. And roll on year 3. That's all I say. Roll on.
Not even roll on year 3. We've got the playoff competition.
I was going to lead into that. You just ruined it, Rich.
Well, sorry.
Again.
See, this is how much we talk. I don't talk to Rich at all. I really struggle. I don't really want to. So, and I kind of feel like I have to on this, because I think, Liam, we're the only ones that talk to Rich on a weekly basis. He is nodding. But yeah, as Rich has just beautifully transitioned us into, We are going to be doing Season DFS are doing a playoff challenge, which is three weeks of a Saturday, Sunday slate and the playoffs, and then a final showdown slate for showdown matchup for the Super Bowl, and that will be in the playoff challenge. So I'm quite looking forward to that, and this is what we're going to be doing over the next 3 weeks, just the whole slate, so the Saturday and the Sunday for all the games. So hopefully that will help everyone who's doing that, and then everyone who is just doing the Saturday slate or the Sunday slate. So yeah, roll on. I'm looking forward to it. Shall we get on with the actual slate, boys? Less of me talking.
Yeah, I mean,
more of you guys talking.
I'm pretty sure that's why we started this call. So yeah, let's do that.
Really?
Yeah.
I just thought you'd want to hear my voice, my dulcet tone.
No, almost certainly not.
Okay, right. Let's get on with the. So yeah, we are doing the Saturday and Sunday slate, the 6-gamer, but this will be okay for if you do a separate Saturday or a separate Sunday, or the pricing should be exactly the same. So, Rich, start us off on your high price QBs or QB that you like.
Josh Allen.
Are we going to be really obvious here? Yeah, I like.
I feel like it has to be Josh Allen, right? I mean, he's essentially matchup proof. Well, I think we touched on it last week. Where it doesn't matter who he's facing, he seems to be just putting up numbers. He's massively improved his accuracy. The Buffalo Bills offense is not completely going through him, but a lot of it is going through him, and he always has that red zone touchdown upside as well. So I feel he's an expensive guy, $7,500, but he's been around that price last pretty much for most of the season, and he's had quite a few performances where he's exceeded what you need in terms of value. So.
I like Josh Allen, mate. What about you, Liam?
Lamar Jackson is a QB I like this week in terms of high-end prices. We're kind of seeing what we saw from Lamar previously last season, the past few weeks in terms of rushing floor. Last week, for example, against Cincinnati, 97 yards off 11 attempts. Only 3 yards off that rushing bonus, of course, which is a bit annoying, but it's still brilliant numbers. And yeah, maybe we'd like to see more than the 18 passing attempts he had last week. But that was against Cincinnati, who ultimately couldn't keep up with Baltimore. And you'd expect Tennessee to do better than Cincinnati offensively. So I'm expecting Lamar to throw a bit more, maybe even towards the 30 attempts mark, which would be nice. And hopefully he can pay back his, a 7.8K salary this week.
I do like Lamar this week. After seeing what Deshaun Watson did to Tennessee last week, I think Lamar could really go off this week, and I think they want a little bit of revenge after last year's playoffs. That's kind of how I see it. I've got Lamar and Josh Allen on my list of high price QBs. Anybody else from you boys, or do you want to go on to running backs?
I'll make a quick mention to Russell Wilson. I just think he's too cheap. Ultimately, at 6.7K, you're asking for what, north for 20 points to hit value, and I think he can easily do it against this Los Angeles Rams defense, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I suppose DK Metcalf's a tough matchup against Ramsey, but I don't care. To be honest, I think Russell Wilson at 6.7 is an easy play for me, and I think one that I'll be targeting quite a bit when everyone's going to Allen and Jackson, for example. We
saw a little bit of magic from Russ last week in the last 2 touchdowns to Lockett, I believe it was, wasn't it? Hopefully he's just rediscovered a little bit of a spark and can take that on to the playoffs. Rich, anybody else?
No.
Cool. Running backs. Rich, starts with running backs.
I mean, for me, it's Jonathan Taylor. So just briefly, Alvin Kamara, I believe he tested positive. So he has an outside chance of playing in the game because it's on Sunday.
Yeah.
But he would need to be completely asymptomatic in order to make it. So I'm not holding out a lot of hope for that.
Yeah.
So that's why, for me, Taylor's the guy. It just seems like this end of. You have to remember, halfway through the season, everyone was saying he was going to be a bust for fantasy, and it seems like maybe he just needed a little bit of time to get used to the pace of the NFL, because he has been balling out recently. He is essentially the backfield. He's, you can see there, he's just been getting so many attempts, like 30 attempts last week against Jacksonville. I'm not expecting that, but like that kind of number, the average of the last 3 weeks is what? 17, 18, something around that.
You'd be looking for something like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So with that many attempts against this Buffalo defensive line, that has shown at times it can be like ripped apart slightly. I'd feel decent about having him in my lineup.
Am I the only one who thinks with Jonathan Taylor and the Colts that the Colts might want to be running the ball a lot more than not a lot more, but trying to burn a little bit of clock to keep Josh Allen off the field and that offense, the Bills' offense?
Yeah, I think that's actually the way that you need to beat the Bills this season. Like the way that they play defense is really uber aggressive, which is fine when a team is trying to chase the game because their offense has got them up a score or two. But if it's not, then they've shown they'll give up big plays. And I think the way the Colts need to do it is try and be on the field for as long as they can and keep
win that time of possession.
Yeah, win that time of possession. You stand a chance of winning this game, I think.
Liam, what about you, buddy?
So I had Mr. Taylor, but I also have Mr. Dobbins, 6,600. Finally, we saw him have a big week last week, 31 points against Cincinnati. And I think this Tennessee defense is there to be taken care of, whether it's in the air, on the ground. It's going to be a complete shootout. I think it's the game you should be targeting this week in terms of stacks, everything like that. And at 6,600, Dobbins has had a decrease in price, which I don't understand. I don't know if you guys can maybe explain a bit better than me, but I feel he's put his stamp on the backfield now over people like Gustavus and Mark Ingram, if you even consider Mark Ingram as part of that backfield anymore. And at this price, I think if you don't want to pay up for a Kamara or a Henry if they can't go, or if you don't want to pay up, I should say, then I think options like Dobbins and Taylor, as previously mentioned, are two quite nice ones.
I think with regards to Dobbins' price, as you were saying, and why it's gone down, I think the fact for the first time in how many weeks Mark Ingram actually saw the ball. Did he have? I think he saw. Let me find. For some reason, I think he saw 9 carries last week. Yeah, he saw 9 carries last week. The first time he's carried the ball since week 13. So there is this kind of thought in my head that they were kind of limiting Ingram for a bit of a playoff run as well. He would be used more in the playoffs, and that's all I can think of. I don't know if Richard's got anything else.
The only thing I can think of is that there's been some usage there, and maybe they're not sure how that backfield's going to end out. But they also I always find with DK, they don't want too many high priced players at any one position, particularly on a slate this small. They want to leave you with the opportunity of having a couple of, mid-state kind of players.
Yeah. Well, on my list were Taylor and Dobbins. So you boys have said everything I need to. I think with regards to Kamara, there's no point really talking about it because the chances are he isn't playing is quite high. But it's Alvin Kamara, so he's got to be in consideration if he's clear to play. Serious consideration.
Yeah, for me, I'm just not sure. As I said, if he will be.
I'm going to mention Derrick Henry because he will be popular. People will, because it's Derrick fucking Henry, and he's just 2K
Henry.
2K Henry. I know. The question is, how do you fade Henry? I know the price is 9,200, but how exactly do you fade him? 250, 98, 147, 215, 178, 39 points, 28 points, 39. It's difficult to. Baltimore, so. They're not. They're on the better side of good defensively against the run, but it's Derrick Henry and the form he's in. I think I'm going to have at least one lineup with him in it. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to have a lineup without Derrick Henry, but I think at 9,200, when you can save 1,800 and well, not 1,300 on Taylor, or go down to Dobbins and save like 2,500. Yeah, it makes it tricky. Have you boys got anybody else, or are those three?
That's it for me.
Yeah. Liam,
yeah, that's it for me. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Go on, Rich. Start us off a wide receiver.
Yeah, the only guy like
Stefon Diggs.
Yeah. I don't really know what you need me to say. Like he's been just balling out all season. Doesn't seem like it matters who's up against. He's walked into this Buffalo offense and just automatically become the wide receiver one. Like his targets throughout the entire season have been consistently high. He has the ability to take any reception to the house with his pace and his ability to just change direction. So yeah, it's a difficult secondary at times against the Colts. That will be a concern, but I'm not overly concerned because I think he is actually just that good.
Do you know what I think is really important for Stefon Diggs? Is the Bills' offensive line against the Colts' D-line. If Allen gets time, that's a really important thing for me. If Allen gets time, I think Diggs could have a great game. If Allen
gets hit a couple of times early, it could all unfold.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Last year's playoffs, Josh Allen. Who didn't love seeing Josh Allen in the playoffs trying to do a lateral pass when he was running? Can you remember that one?
Yeah.
I guess that was hilarious. Oh, there you are, Rich.
Yeah, sorry about that.
What happened there?
I'm not my cup.
It's
a really technical setup I've got. So
no, yeah, Diggs pretty. Yeah. Liam, who have you got?
I have a feeling Jamie's going to pick a certain player, so I'll go to another player that I quite like, Allen Robinson, at 6,600.
Oh, you stole. Carry on.
Nah, I'm pretty sure I know you're going to pick Jamie.
I've got him on my list.
Yeah. I mean, I just quite like him this week. I feel Montgomery isn't going to have much success against New Orleans. I know I said it last week with their game last week, but I do think this week it will actually happen. So I think Trubisky's going to have to pass the ball quite a bit, and of course his laser focused target is Robinson. And I think the past few weeks Robinson has been this sort of up and down player. So he's due a good week, and I feel in a must-win game ultimately for Chicago, I feel the number one receiver on their team, who is due quite a big payday, is going to ball out. And 6,600, I think it's quite a nice price actually.
Yeah, agreed. So who are you suggesting that I'm going to talk about?
In your words, he's Pittsburgh's wide receiver one.
I think he should be in everyone's bloody words. He's definitely on my list. It is Mr. Deontay Johnson. How do we not love Deontay? Cleveland, their pass defense sucks. I know Pittsburgh's Ben Roethlisberger isn't exactly brilliant at the moment. But he's brilliant for what Deontay Johnson does. Nice, get the ball to him and use his feet. Get past players. He's just kind of Mr. Consistent, isn't he? Apart from obviously last week when Ben wasn't there, but he just sees 14 targets, 13 targets, 12, 13, 16, 10, 15. He's going to get looks. Forget about the fact that he doesn't hold on to all the passes that come to him, because Big Ben just kind of forgets that and he just keeps throwing in the ball. And 6,200, I think he's an absolute slam dunk from my lineup this week. I could just give me all the Deontay Johnson I can get. You boys like him, or do you prefer enough?
Yeah, fully in agreement with you. Really, you can't explain it really well. And even last week, like with the 4 targets, he got 96 yards with a backup QB. Like,
Exactly.
it shows how good he is. And yeah, he's going to do really well in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah. Rich, are you on the Deontay Johnson fanboy club?
Not as much as you do, but yeah, I like him.
Okay, well,
Fair enough.
let's move on from Deontay Johnson to Rich. Have you got another wide receiver, high-priced wide receiver that you like?
AJ Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's more, as you were saying, like if this game's going to be a shootout, then Titans need to score points. And that will come through Derrick Henry on the ground, but AJ Brown also has the ability to, similar to, as I was saying with Diggs, score from anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think they'll lean to him. Where you will might see some targets go towards Corey Davis, which will probably be really frustrating. But I'd with the price, I'd probably have Davis in my lineup more than AJ Brown. But
yeah,
he's not bad, not a bad player at all this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I do like AJ Brown this week as well. Limited practice on Wednesday, but I wouldn't be that concerned about that.
That's fine.
Yeah, Liam, have you got anybody else?
Yeah, I've got one certain one. I'll open another one up to you guys as well. So my certain one, Terry McLaurin, 6,300. Bit like Allen Robinson in a sense. He's a volume play. Even a poor week last week against Philly, he got 8 targets, 7 receptions, and a touchdown, which kind of saved him really. Bit like Chicago as well. I think Washington's gonna have to throw the ball with Alex Smith being back, and Gibson for me isn't going to do well this week against this Tampa Bay rush defense. So yeah, I think it's a pure volume play, and I think in these kind of small slates you want to target the volume and the certainties you can get. So I think Robinson and McLaurin are 2 certainties to me in terms of what they've been producing, what they can produce this week.
And who is the other one?
Yeah, so it's a guy who's on IR at the moment who potentially could come off it for the playoffs in Michael Thomas. Now, before we went on IR,
himself.
Yeah, before we went on IR, you can see there if you're watching the YouTube video, 105 yards and 84 yards. Pretty consistent target share from the QBs that he was with, which I believe was Taysom Hill. Obviously got Drew Brees back under centre now, and I see there he's expected to rejoin the Saints for practice as a limited participant. So what are your boys' thoughts on Michael Thomas this week, 6,400?
I think the price is really cheap.
Yeah.
That's the thing that stands out for me. It's just, I don't know. The price kind of makes me, the 6,400, I'd put him in my lineup without even thinking. Because you're paying, 6,400 for Michael Thomas on a Saints offense, or 60
McLaurin, yeah,
or McLaurin, and I would play Thomas over McLaurin.
Yeah, so would I.
Just because you win, it's Drew Brees against Alex Smith on that kind of for me. It's that price. It kind of stands out for me. What about you, Rich? What do you think about Michael Thomas?
I feel like he's going to be chronically under-owned in GBPs this week. Because a lot of people will be doing their lineups early. They won't necessarily keep on top of the news. And if he does go play, which is, I think he's trending towards that. I don't think he's been activated just yet, but trending towards that, then he will be, chronically under-owned. And as you said, like that price, 6,400, you're not getting him for that and any other week of the season, I don't think.
No,
that target share is it's too much to just not put in the lineup.
No. Cool. Rich, have you got anybody else?
Not that I would say it's high price, no.
Okay, I've got one. It's my boy, Tyler Lockett. My boy, Tyler Lockett. He broke the Seattle record for receptions last week. In the season, I can't think how many it was, but it was a lot. He got 14 targets, 12 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Yes, the 2 touchdowns came at the end of the game, but I was saying to you boys earlier that we saw a little bit of the magic from Russell Wilson in that fourth quarter. And that little bit of magic kind of was partly to do with Tyler Lockett as well. Yes, Tyler Lockett is very boom bust, but I think that this is going to be a very close game, and he's going to go to the guy he trusts the most, and the guy Russell Wilson trusts for me is Tyler Lockett. He trusts DK, but him and Tyler Lockett have kind of got this. Wilson gets out of the pocket, and Lockett, probably I don't know it, just finds space in a pocket. Lockett, pocket, brilliant. And Russ finds in the ball. I don't expect probably 14 targets and again this week, but I think we're going to get a better game than 7 points, 10 points, 12 points, which was his previous 4 weeks before his 33-point blow up last week. What are your boys' thoughts on Tyler Lockett? Because I can see both kind of not liking him and liking him. So I'm leaning towards the like. What do you boys think?
I'm kind of on the fence. I think it's the price that worries me. Because obviously, I think DK is going to be occupied by Jalen Ramsey the whole game, which he has been the past 2 times they've played each other.
Yep.
You have to think Lockett's going to get a lot of target share, right?
You'd hope so.
That price worries me. I think you got Robinson at 300 cheaper, Michael Thomas at 400 cheaper, as 2 examples. Paying that for Lockett just seems, I don't know, less optimal to me. But I could see myself playing Lockett in like maybe GPPs, as I feel we could be underowned, for sure.
Yeah, the thing about his price is I think he will be underowned.
Yeah,
and I think if he goes off, you've got and he's on your lineup, you've got an immediate advantage because, as I say, I don't think so. If you paired up Thomas and Lockett, for example, I think you've got potentially 2 wide receivers who will be less owned than they should be, and I think it's an advantage for you to do that. Rich, what do you think about Lockett?
I don't mind him, but the issue that I have is just like where he's priced.
Yeah.
Right. So
exactly.
that for me is a concern. Like I'd much rather spend down and get Michael Thomas. Like that's kind of where I am. Like it's not against him. Like I think he'll probably have a decent total, but I think his ability to meet value, you're banking on touchdowns. I think because
totally.
This Rams defense is pretty good, keeping lower point scores. So I just think I'd look elsewhere. Just literally just because of the price. I just can't trust it.
That is fair, boys. That is fair. Right, let's hit tight ends. Liam, start us.
I'd like to think we've all got the same tight end here, but I'll say Logan Thomas. Yes, no. No, I think either way. I mean, look, I think the past 3 weeks he's had 16 targets, 12 targets, and 6 last week.
Yeah.
Admittedly, he got saved by a touchdown, but this position is touchdown dependent in my opinion. And he's running a lot of routes, which is what you want from your tight end. As I mentioned with McLaurin, I feel Washington have to throw the ball a lot in this game to keep up with Tampa Bay. And Thomas has been a beneficiary of that most weeks. So I struggle to see this week being any different. And I think at 4,900, he's a bit too cheap, actually. I think he should be more expensive than Mark Andrews.
Interesting. No, I like Thomas. Rich, is Thomas on your list as well? Of course he is. Of course he is.
As Liam said, this position is so touchdown dependent. But if there's anyone who is slightly less touchdown dependent, it's Logan Thomas, just because of the opportunity he gets in the offense.
Yeah.
So 4,900, give it.
Yeah. Rich, have you got anyone else apart from Logan Thomas?
No. Okay. Not that I'm happy. Like Eric Ebron, maybe I'll give a shout out to because he was close contact. So if he continues to test negative, then he'll be back. But it's one of those things. Like I always feel like whenever I think Eric Ebron's going to have a good game, he does not have a good game. So I might have some. I will have some GBP lineups with him in.
Yeah,
but I'm not holding out too much hope for him.
Cool. Okay. Liam, have you got anybody else, or is that basically it? Mr. Thomas?
I'll give a quick mention to Gronkowski at 4K. We speak about touchdown dependent tight ends. Gronkowski is that, and he sees the most end zone targets in the whole league, or one of the most at least. So Tampa Bay are a high total. Gronkowski is running routes quite a fair bit, and that's kind of what you want. High totals and route running is really key to this position. And Washington aren't particularly good against the tight ends. So, well, from what I understand anyway. So I will take a bit of Gronkowski at 4K in GPPs for sure.
Cool. Right. Defense, Rich.
Defense, I feel like this week more than any other is one where I'm just going to do the rest of my lineup and then just put one in that I'm happy with.
Okay.
Out of the top couple of defenses, the only one I'm kind of happy with would be the Buccaneers, because the Washington offense isn't all that great. And I think I just saw, as we were recording as well, that Shaquille Barrett's been activated from the reserve COVID list.
Okay.
And he's a big part of their pass rush. But I'm just thinking Washington aren't going to score that many points, or at least that's my expectation. So that combined with the pass rush with Barrett coming back, that's what I'm probably most confident in.
Cool. Liam?
Yeah, I think most people go to the Steelers this week if they're going to pay up. Obviously, we got the news that Stefanski is not going to be coaching the team on Sunday. I believe they play. So
It'll be the T lady.
Well, I mean, I heard it was a special teams coordinator, but yeah, the T lady, sure. So yeah, I mean, the Pittsburgh defense is one of the better ones in the league on its day anyway, no matter who's coaching. So the fact that they're missing Stefanski, who's such a pivotal part of their play call in general. I think Pittsburgh could have a day, to be honest. And 3,600, it's not too expensive. It'll kill your lineups. So I think that'd be the one I consider at the high end.
Yeah. Thing is, does it really take much of a play caller to say, yeah, just hand it off to the running backs, mate?
Well, they haven't been doing that. That's the thing. They've been passing it every 2 seconds. So yeah, not too sure.
I suspect Stefanski will be in that guy's ear, telling him what to do.
Yeah,
maybe on Zoom
potentially.
It'll be Cleveland Browns sponsored by Zoom, right?
I've got one, and it's the most expensive. This is the Saints, 3,800. The Saints are at home. They're playing Mitch Trubisky. It's the playoffs. They're playing really, really well, their defense at the moment. The D-line is getting to the quarterback. The DBs are pretty good as well. Lattimore, hold face. They just get points, really. So what, 17 last week? Last time they played Chicago, do we know if it was Mitch or was it Foles?
In week 8.
Rich will tell us. Rich will tell.
You fill in and I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, in that week, they got 5 sacks against them. You know you're going to get sacks with the Saints. You're going to get pressure. I don't trust Mitch Trubisky or Matt Nagy in the playoffs. And I much prefer to trust Sean Payton and Cam Jordan and Hendricks. Is it Hendricks? Or Hendricks, something like that. The other pass rusher they've got there. To get to Trubisky and kind of just make him shit his pants. That's basically how I see it. I don't mind paying out 3,800 for him. I wouldn't do it in every single lineup. You want to vary it a bit, but I think the Saints could, like you said about the Steelers, yeah, they could have a day. I think the Saints could as well. If they can get to Trubisky early and ruffle his feathers a bit, I think it could be a long, long day for the Bears offense. That's it defense-wise. We've got nobody else, have we? I don't.
No, not for me.
No. Cool. Well, should we just smoothly move on to our mid to low price players? Liam.
Yeah.
Liam, start us off with your QBs mid to low that you like.
I mean, there's not any that I love, to be honest. the two I'm targeting is purely because they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. And funnily, it's the guy who didn't trust in Mitch Trubisky as the first one. I can't explain a bit with what I'm thinking on Robinson. I don't think Montgomery's going to have a lot of room to work with in this game. So Mitch is probably going to see what we saw against Green Bay in terms of near enough 40 pass attempts. So, of course, when your QB's passing the ball quite a bit, he's going to get more points. And 5,300, you're not asking for too much, like points-wise, maybe 20 at the most to get that really good value that you need. And, you know, even if it's garbage time, who cares, quite frankly? It's still points in your lineup.
Bingo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Mitch at all. And the other one, so I don't think you guys have mentioned it based off what you were saying, is Alex Smith, 5,100. Exactly the same reasons, to be honest. I feel, well, he threw 46 times against Pittsburgh. Would not be shocked to see that against Tampa Bay as well. You know, Tampa Bay on the road are a lot better in the first half than they are at home, so it's kind of beneficial to them that they're on the road. So I feel they'll start quite quick. So immediately that puts Washington under the cosh. They're going to have to throw the ball more. And yeah, and it's even cheaper than Trubisky. So even sub 20 points is good for Alex Smith. Maybe like 18, 19 range would be decent. So yeah, I think I like both. If you want to take a GPP approach to the position, I think both of these guys are quite playable.
I think with Trubisky is, if he is going to have a good game, Matt Nagy's going to have to game plan to get the ball out of his hands very quickly. Short, quick,
I agree with that.
Things like that. I think that's where he doesn't need to be 100% accurate because he's not in general anyway. But I think that's the way. Get the ball out of his hands and let his receivers do the work, or his running backs or his tight ends do the work for him. Get it up and kind of slow that game down. Rich, what about you, mate?
Cheap up, like, does Big Ben count? Or he seems like a little bit more medium, but I mean
61.
Yeah, so
he's on the borderline. I'll let you have him.
All right, thank you so much.
He's quite green.
He's had a bit of a weird kind of finish to the season after starting out quite well. I think against Cleveland they're going to look to try and have him get the ball out of his hands to as we mentioned before, Deontay Johnson, and I think Chase Claypool will probably be a big part of this offense this week as well. As you mentioned before, Cleveland are going to be without Stefanski, which could mean that their defense spends more time on the field, which will help Big Ben, as this secondary is not the best in the league, kind of far from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think they probably air it out more than anything else. So that's what I want him there for his attempts.
Cool. I've got someone who I thought you were going to mention, Rich.
Right, so I was tempted to mention
nine baby Philip Rivers.
Yeah, I was tempted to talk about him, but I'm not as confident in him as I used to be. Just from the perspective of the pass attempts are there, but he seems like he's really up and down in terms of his completions, and I'm also worried with the fact that they've lost their left tackle, and that makes me worry for someone like Rivers, who kind of wants that protection, especially from his blind side. So that's my worry.
That's fair, mate. That's fair. I'm kind of, when we talked about Taylor, that we thought maybe that they might need to kind of slow the game down a bit and keep the offense, Bills offense off the field. This is kind of I think we know with Rivers, you're probably going to see, I don't know, 17 to 20 points, maybe 16 to 20 points for him. But if the potential game plan of them running the ball and kind of keeping the Bills offense off the field, or if just the Bills offense goes nuts, Phil Rivers is going to have to start launching the ball left, right, and centre. So if you think this is going to be a shootout, Philip Rivers should be in your lineup. 5,500. I quite like the price, if I'm honest, for him. I think this will be a fairly high scoring game. So I would definitely have a lineup or two with Philip Rivers in as my quarterback. Anyone else a quarterback, boys, or are we good to move on to running backs?
Happy to move on.
Yeah, move on.
Rich, hit me with the running backs.
So we mentioned Jonathan Taylor earlier. Naheem Hines for me is another guy that's worth considering.
Yeah.
It depends how you think this game's going to go, really. So I'm kind of of the opinion that it might be that if Buffalo get out to an early lead, then they're going to need to pass the ball, and Naheem Hines will be that guy. You can see on screen there that he's in terms of targets, he's certainly leading the backfield and receptions, and he's being effective when he's getting the ball as well.
Yeah,
you don't need a lot from him. As a salary is only $4,700, which is the cheapest it's been since week 12. And during that time, he's had double-digit scores, which is double digits would be slightly under what you want for value, but it's around about that ballpark. So
yeah,
and we've seen before that he can get into the end zone.
Yeah,
annoyingly.
Liam, what about you, buddy?
I think I mentioned the chalkiest play of all of them in Cam Akers, 5,100. Even when he wasn't meant to play last week, he still got 21 carries and 4 receptions out of the backfield. So
21 carries for 34 yards.
True, yeah, that's not very good at all. But I feel you've got to value the volume there, and hope that he'll achieve more what he did against New England, where he got 29 attempts, 171 yards. And I feel I've mentioned it in previous weeks. Seattle's weakness is the run game now. It's not the pass game. Yes, the season stats say they're top 5 rush defense, Seattle, but they're not. Like if you go back to week 12 to 16, they're like bottom 5 in the league. They've kind of transitioned from being able to defend the receivers and tight ends to now giving up in the run game. And I think Cam Akers, if he can, have a good week of practice and get this workload again, especially with Darrell Henderson probably out. I think you've got to value the volume, and at 5.1k, I think it's worth the risk, quite frankly.
I think, am I the only one who thinks Akers might be one of the higher owned running backs just based on his price?
Yeah, I think he should be. I think he will be, yeah.
Yeah.
Who have I got? Let's go with, I've got JD McKissick.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a bit of JD, don't they? Rich nodding his head.
He was on my list, so
yeah, price 4,900 going up against the Bucks. I think this Bucks D line is going to come after Alex Smith because he is not very mobile at all, for obvious reasons. But I think they're going to need to use JD McKissick out of the backfield a lot. So I'm thinking, for me, 8 to 10 targets, maybe 7 to 10 targets out of the backfield, because that pass rush is going to come after Alex Smith, and he's need to get the ball out of his hands quickly. The last 3 weeks, he saw 8 targets against Philly, 10 targets against Carolina, 10 targets against Seattle. Yes, I think Seattle and Carolina were Dwayne Haskins, wasn't it? Am I right? Quarterback, I think so. Yeah. But even last week, 8 targets last week with Alex Smith against Philly. I think he'll see a few rushing attempts, but it's the passing game where I'm interested in him, really. I think they're going to need both backs out of the backfield, catching passes. And 4,900, I like JD McKissick. Rich, have you got anything to add to that, seeing as he was on your list as well?
No, I think you've covered all the points that I was going to bring. So
cool. Well, okay. Well, tell us another running back you like, Rich.
Right. So I need to get your opinion on this, because I feel like I'm going to like one of them. I'm really not sure. So Zach Moss and Devon Singletary. I feel like one of these guys might have a game, but I kind of feel like they might both not equally.
Okay.
I might have just talked myself out of both of them.
Well, Zach Moss is the goal line back, isn't he?
Yeah. So that's the thing. So,
and Singletary is he will see rushing. He's looked better than Zach Moss last couple of weeks, but he's he's kind of the one that's going to see, not see massive amounts of targets, but he will see more targets.
Yeah, and to be honest, the only reason why I'm even mentioning both of them is just because of their price. Like Zach Moss at 4,600 and Singletree at 4,300. You don't need a lot. I mean, if Zach Moss scores a touchdown, then he's like, he's well on his way to giving you value.
Yeah.
So I'm not massively into them. Latavius Murray is also interesting because he was only held out the game for close contact, so he's more likely to play than Alvin Kamara. But I just don't know if he's the type of back that they're going to want in this game against Chicago, who I think they now have. Who's a defensive tackle? Akins. Is it Akins?
Do you know Akins?
Do you know?
No,
I don't know. Then Rich, I can't think off the top of my head.
Because I don't know. I can't. Their Chicago's defensive line is pretty good at stopping running backs. It's been pretty good at doing that all season. So I don't think that Latavius Murray is a kind of dynamic guy that they're going to need. So I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't really want any, but I'm sure one of you guys is going to talk me into putting some in my lineup.
If I had to choose, I'm probably going to have Moss and Singletree. Probably Singletree because of the price. He's cheaper. If I had to choose out of Moss and Singletree, for me, I know it's 300, but it's 300. Who are you going to choose? Who would you choose, Moss or Singletree, Liam?
I think for me, they'd both be GPP shouts, so I'll probably go with Singletary just because he's more explosive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I actually had to have Murray on my list as well, just purely if Kamara doesn't go.
Yeah.
It just seems, it's just going to be so chalky if Kamara does end up getting ruled out, and it's going to be a fairly last minute thing by the sounds of things. So yeah, I mean, it's just keep an eye on it, really.
And we all know Sean Payton's going to put Taysom Hill in at the goal line anyway and piss everyone off who's got Latavius Murray for the 1 yard line, don't we?
Yes.
That's what he does.
Yes,
yeah. I've got. Can we guess who I've got? Is it really? It should be that? Should be pretty obvious, shouldn't it? Rich is looking at the screen. Who is it, Rich? Come on.
I don't know. I feel like it's going to be one of these moments where I slap myself when you bring him up. Gus Bus.
Oh, come on, Rich. Of course it's Gus. 4,400. Going up against Tennessee. He's not getting the same amount of... he got the same amount of attempts as Dobbins last week. Didn't get the 72-yard run or whatever like Dobbins did, so he didn't get 160-odd yards. But the attempts he gets, the chances he's given, he makes the most of his opportunity. So, 4,400, I think it's 50 yards and a touch, 60 yards and a touchdown maybe a reception or two. He's caught a couple of passes the last couple of weeks, or last 3 weeks. 4,400 for me, I'm happy to put Gus in one of my teams. And if you're playing a Gus Edwards, it means potentially if you wanted to stick a Henry in your lineup, you could do that. Do you guys not hate, you can't hate Gus Edwards. Did he stand out for you or anything?
It's just quite frustrating. I feel he needs a touchdown to really get to where you want him to be in terms of like value. And since Cleveland, he hasn't done that. Of course, this is the week he'll probably do it because we're kind of just talking him down a little bit. Well, I am anyway. But I don't know. He's not on my player pool right now. Of course, if we get news throughout the week, then I might change my mind. But I think for now, I'll probably steer clear.
Fair enough. Rich?
Yeah, I'm probably going to steer clear as well. Yeah, I don't want it.
You boys hate Gus Edwards.
I don't hate Gus Edwards.
You were with me last week. I liked him last week.
Yeah.
So that was nice to do.
Gus Edwards needs to get a starting job somewhere. So Gus Edwards needs.
Not Baltimore. Yeah.
No. Get Gus Edwards to the Jets or the Falcons.
Do you not like him then?
Well, I think with the new coaching staff of the Jets, he'll be all right.
Yeah.
And anything's better than Todd Gurley, just put it that way. Wide receivers, Rich, hit us with some wide receivers.
So cheaper wide receivers. I'm going to go straight to Marquise Brown.
Yeah, like him a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be like I'm overly confident in him, but
Yeah, I know what you're feeling.
it's just I was quite confident in week 11 going up against Tennessee, and he didn't have a single reception. He did have 3 targets, but that was his lowest kind of couple of that stretch. But this end of season is he's really like kind of found himself a little bit, which by the way means that he's going to be massively overdrafted come redraft season.
Yeah.
But he's worth consideration. 5,400. We've seen Tennessee. The biggest weakness they have is pace in their secondary.
Yeah.
Marquise Brown has pace, and Lamar Jackson can extend the play to let Brown get downfield before he just whacks it downfield. So I've also seen that he's able to be used in the red zone as well.
We saw what Brandon Cooks did to him last week, and Brandon Cooks is not as fast as Marquise Brown.
True.
But then again, Lamar Jackson isn't as good a passer as Deshaun Watson, so might even itself out. But yeah, no, I really like Marquise Brown this week. Liam?
Let's go to Juju.
Yeah.
Missed a dance on your team logo middle of the field.
That was a bad shout, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, well, he's finally showing some consistency. Of course, Cincinnati is a bit of an anomaly, but he's finally getting the love from Big Ben, or in this case, or the case last week anyway, from Mason Rudolph. And I think he could be a nice contrarian to players like Deontay Johnson. I think even Chase Claypool will see more ownership than Juju this week.
Okay.
So I feel if you're thinking maybe GPP strategy, I think a bit of a Big Ben Juju stack could be on the cards. It's a nice bit differential.
Nice. I do like Juju this week. I've got 2, and I will scroll down. It's Smokey Brown. Going up against the Colts. First game back after 6 games out, 4-4-72 last week, and a touchdown against Miami. I think John Brown is very, very he was very underrated, and kind of until the middle to back end of last year. This year, he's played really, really well with Josh Allen. The improvement in Josh Allen's accuracy and passing has been great for him. I think that the attention is going to be all of the attention is probably going to be on Stephon Diggs. I think John Brown could have a sneaky good game this week against a very, very good Indianapolis Colts defense. Anyone kind of have any thoughts on John Brown, or?
No, completely agree with what you said. Yeah, like it.
Cool. It's the first.
Do you always feel like you get a little bit of validation from Liam? Like when he goes like, no, that makes sense.
Yes.
I just feel like, oh, yes. I didn't mess up.
Well, wasn't it last week he said something that I can't remember what he said, but it was kind of like very,
that's
very
not
surprised.
bad for you.
Yeah, that's not bad for you.
That's not bad for you.
Yeah, I like John Brown this week at 4,700. And another one is Cam Sims, Washington going up against the Bucks. You boys seem to think, or Liam seems to think, that Alex Smith is going to have to pass the ball a fair bit this week. Cam Sims sees a fairly consistent target share over last week 5 targets, 9 the week before, 8, then 2, and then 9 before that. This is a real kind of low floor, high ceiling, because I think he's gonna get 1 week where he absolutely blows up, because he's really, really quick. He's got very, very good hands as well. He kind of came out of nowhere, because back end of last year it was Steven Sims who was the one to have in Washington, and kind of Cam Sims has kind of pushed his way through. So yeah, at 3,900, I really quite like Cam Sims. You know you're going to get a certain amount of targets, and if Smith's going to have to pass the ball a fair amount this week, I think you could see anywhere up to 9 to 10 targets for him. 5, 6 for 60 and maybe a touchdown if you're lucky. So kind of a solid-ish floor with a high ceiling. Anybody else, girls?
No, you kind of said you were always sort of looking at, so yeah.
Cool. Tight ends. Liam, who have you got?
No one. No, I mean, there's a few punt plays. I'm not loving this range at all, to be completely honest.
I know it's not that nice.
I mentioned Jacob Hollister last week. No, it's not. I mean, I'll start off with Jacob Hollister. I mentioned him last week. I'll mention him again. I just feel that he is the guy in the end zone for Seattle, and we keep saying it is a touchdown dependent position. And for me, I think if you're targeting this Seattle game and looking to get a bit different, I feel Hollister is the guy that you want. Yeah, that's kind of it for me.
Rich?
Nah, just throw a dart at like tight end is so dependent. I've not really got any like strong feelings about anyone. I mean, Vance McDonald, if Ebron doesn't play, it's worth considering because we saw last week he got 6 targets.
Yeah.
And he's only 2,900. But I mean, I could talk myself into a whole bunch of options. This week that cheap, but I don't really want to. I'd much rather just save a saving elsewhere and then pay up for Logan Thomas, I think.
Yeah, I've got one. It's Johnny Smith, 3,200. Kind of as both of you said, with this kind of area price range of tight ends isn't. It's very underwhelming. Let's put it that way. I think with Johnny Smith, I think Baltimore are going to put points up on Tennessee. Tennessee are going to have to throw the ball a fair bit. Not every pass can go to Corey Davis or AJ Brown. I think Johnny Smith will see a fair amount of targets, not a huge amount, but he's a red zone weapon for him as well. Let's put it that way. And as Rich just mentioned, and Liam's mentioned previously as well, you're looking for touchdowns for tight ends. And I've got this as a high scoring game, so I'm quite happy to plug Johnny Smith in at 3,200. And I agree with Vance McDonald if Ebron is out at 2,900 going up against the Browns' shitty pass defense. DSTs. Liam?
Seattle, main one for me, 2,700.
Yep.
Honestly, I really don't care if Wolford or Goff is playing. This defense is going to, in my opinion, absolutely dominate this Rams offense. They're going to, I think, as you see from their sack totals, they've been getting 3 or 4 the past 4 weeks, which is really consistent and what you want, really.
Yeah. No, I think the Seahawks are a play for me.
I think both guys.
I think we're having some issues with Liam's internet connection. He's got to stop moving his caravan. I can hear you, Liam. Can you hear Liam? Can you hear us? You've got to stop moving your caravan around.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us? Hello? Rich, give us a defense quickly, mate.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it is the Seahawks. That's the only one I'm kind of like really confident in paying down for. I mean, as we said before, like I could kind of talk myself into a few of them. If you want to push me for another one that's cheap, probably Washington. We've seen that Chase Young has the ability to really wreck an offensive line, and Tom Brady is not the most mobile. So this defensive line could cause some troubles for Tom Brady. But I think I'm more confident in the Seahawks than I am in any others that are cheaper.
Yeah. No, I really like the Seahawks. I've got two. It's the Seahawks and the Rams. I think if the Rams are going to win this game, it's going to be to their defense is going to have a huge part to play in it.
Their defense is good, and that's honestly the only reason why they're probably in the playoffs, to be honest, because their offense has been shaky all season, but their defense is really what keeps them. Like, they limit so many teams to like around 20 points, which just always is going to keep your offense in the game, isn't it?
Exactly. The defense is what's got them here. The offense has been subpar by crazily, and I think part of that is also on Sean McVay. Yeah, Goff hasn't played as well as he can do, which has affected the running backs, the wide receivers, and whatever it will be. But yeah, I think a lot of these offensive woes for the Rams is on Sean McVay. But yeah, no, 2,900, you got the Rams, and the Seahawks at 2,700. So yeah, I quite like both defenses in that game, which to me, I'm basically saying I don't think it's going to be. I think both of them are going to be able to get after the quarterback. Right, boys, I think we should go on to stacks now, seeing as we've gone through the kind of the high and mid to low price players that we like. Liam, give us a stack that you like this week.
Yeah, so alluded to it a bit earlier. Quite like the differential stack of Big Ben and Juju.
What's the price come to on that?
Juju's 55 and Big Ben 61, so that is 11.6, I believe.
That is not bad at all. Rich, give us a first stack.
I'll stick with the same quarterback, but go his wide receiver one.
Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, so I think that gets you up to 12-4.
Cool. My first stack is an Indianapolis Colts stack. It's Rivers, Taylor, and Hines. 18,100. I don't think you're going to see many people do that stack. Probably for a reason.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe a reason.
But no, I quite like that stack this week. Rich, have you got a second one?
Well, there's Jackson and Brown. Like, obviously, Liam was mentioning Jackson earlier, and we all agreed that Marquise Brown could have a good game here. So that stack will get you to 13,200.
Yeah. Liam?
Yeah, that was my second one. Yeah, Jackson and Brown.
My other one is Allen, Josh Allen, and Smokey.
You're going to say Smokey, yeah.
Yeah, and Smokey. Which comes...
You can go bougie on that, though, couldn't you? With Diggs instead.
Well, I've got Diggs written down on here. So you could really do an Allen, Diggs, and Brown for 19,900. And as I say, if you think it's going to be a high-scoring game, it's a good one to get involved in. Anyone else got any more? Or are we all in agreement with those?
No. Not for me.
Okay. Who has a player of the week? Because I was struggling this week.
I mean, just Marquise Brown, 5,400. We seem to be in consensus that he's going to do well this week, so he could be our consensus player of the week if Rich doesn't have one.
Yeah, I'm happy to go with Marquise Brown. Like with the price tag as well built in. Yeah, I think it honestly feels to me like he's going to end up having a zero kind of game because I'm so confident in him.
But you wouldn't put it past him to do that, would
That's what
you?
usually happens. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, everyone builds him up like, no, he's going to have a really good game, and then like nothing. But yeah, I would say he's probably like the player of the week. He's especially at the price tag.
So it's taken 14 weeks, or 13 weeks, and we've finally got a consensus play of the week from all of us.
That's because Liam just told us that we need to agree. Basically, we just do what Liam says.
Okay.
And blame all of me if it goes wrong. Yeah,
we're going to move on with this. Liam, who is your bust of the week?
Let's go with Antonio Gibson. 5,700. Don't see him doing a lot against this Tampa Bay rush defense, who's been great all year. And we can't mention the episode. They're going to have to pass the ball a lot. And as Jamie has kind of said as well, that's McKissick's sort of realm. So, can't see a lot of points with Gisborne in this one, to be honest.
Well, I haven't got a bust of the week, so I'm going to jump on board with Liam's bust of the week of Antonio Gibson as my bust of the week. Rich, who is yours?
Alvin Kamara because he won't play.
You can't have Alvin
No,
Kamara.
I'm cheating. That doesn't count.
But yeah, come on, do Antonio Gibson, and we can have a consensus bust of the week.
Well, Antonio Gibson is a guy that I think
Could struggle.
He could struggle. I equally think. I honestly think that Derek Henry might struggle. I don't know what it is. I just have this feeling that with the price tag, he has to have a huge game.
30 points. And he's done that like the last 5. Well, I don't know. I'm just taking off the top of my head. I'm not looking at it, but he's done it a fair bit.
Yeah, I just feel like Baltimore might just try and really eke out the clock with their. I don't think they've faced an offense like this that kind of just runs the ball as much as them for a while. So they played in week 11 and he had 23 points.
Yeah. It wouldn't kill you, but it's not.
It wouldn't kill you, but it's not. Yeah, it's not what you need. It's not what you're hoping for, especially if you're spending up that much. That's the issue. Is like the time and play, because I think you've got 2 teams there that want to run the ball, which is going to mean a lot of clock disappears.
I think with Derek Henry is. I had a really good point, and here we go. It's come back to my head. Come back to me now. Is that I think Baltimore are going to just effortlessly put points on Tennessee, and if Tennessee get down 14 to 20 points, they're going to run the ball that much. I think you've got to hope that the Baltimore don't get an early lead. That's the kind of thing with Derrick Henry, but I'm sticking with Antonio Gibson, even though Rich made a very good point on Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that might look really awful come like Monday. I'm just going to like Twitter mute.
Right, boys. Should we get on with our lineups for this week? I'm going to have to grab mine up. Can you boys, I'm just going to quickly shut my door because I've just had a message saying, can you shut up because you're disturbing the baby?
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So, Rich, just quickly tell me who your quarterback is, and then Liam, tell me who yours is.
So my quarterback is Big Ben.
Nice.
I just feel confident that we're going to see him air the ball out. So.
Okay, cool. That's 6,100, right? Big Ben?
6,100, yeah. 6,100.
Yeah. Okay, so my quarterback is Russell Wilson, 6,700. Just think he can achieve value pretty easily at that price, and lowest he's been in a while, so I thought I'll take advantage of that.
Cool. It seems like we've got 3 different quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson for me, 7,800. Going up against the Titans. Rich, you're running back 1.
Jonathan Taylor, 7,900.
Rich?
Rich just said Jonathan Taylor.
Liam?
Liam. I'm taking a risk. I'm going to say Alvin Kamara, 8,500.
Ooh. No swapsies, I'm just saying.
Okay, I'll take that risk.
I'm joking. I've got Jonathan Taylor at 7,900 as my running back 1. Rich, you're running back 2.
J.K. Dobbins, 6,600.
Liam?
Chris Carson, 5,900.
I've got J.D. McKissick, 4,900. Your wide receiver 1, Rich?
Deontay Johnson.
Liam?
Allen Robinson.
I've got Cam Sims, 3,900 for the Skins. Rich, your wide receiver 2?
Marquise Brown.
Liam?
Marquise Brown.
I have Marquise Brown as well.
Big shock.
Yeah. Your wide receiver 3, Rich?
Chase Claypool.
Liam?
Zach Pascal.
Zach Pascal. I've got Tyler Lockett, 6,900.
Okay.
Your tight end, Rich?
Logan Thomas.
Liam?
Big shock, Logan Thomas.
I've got Johnny Smith, 3,200. I know. Rich, your flex, please.
JD McKissick.
Liam?
Juju.
And I've got Deontay Johnson. Defense, Rich?
Seahawks.
Liam?
Seahawks.
I've got the New Orleans Saints. Rich, list your team for me, please.
So I've got Big Ben, quarterback. Running backs are Jonathan Taylor and J.K. Dobbins. Receivers are Deontay Johnson, Marquise Brown, and Chase Claypool. Tight end, Logan Thomas. Flex is J.D. McKissick. And my DST are the 12s, Seattle Seahawks.
Liam?
Yeah, so quarterback, Russell Wilson. Running backs is Mr. Kamara and Carson. Wide receivers, Allen Robinson, Marquise Brown, Zach Pascal. Tight end is Logan Thomas. Flex is wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. And the DST is the Seattle Seahawks.
Cool. I've got Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor and JD McKissick as my running backs, Tyler Lockett, Marquise Brown, and Cam Sims at wide receiver. My tight end is Jonnu Smith. My flex is Deontay Johnson, and my defense is the New Orleans Saints. That's some interesting lineups there, boys. We're quite different, which is quite nice.
Considering the condensed player pool, yeah, it's quite nice actually. Yeah,
I know. I was surprised. I'm liking the Seahawks Wilson Carson stack.
Yeah, it kind of. I think this represents value, and I'm all about value. So.
Yeah, and Rich is stacking up on the Steelers wide receivers and Big Ben.
Yeah, can't really complain too much about that.
No. Just watch James Washington go off now.
Yeah, he started minutes, wasn't he, at 3K? So
yeah, he's the one I didn't put in, so that's the one who's going to go off. I'm pretty sure.
Oh man, thank you for. Oh, where can we find you, Rich? Don't say in the room in your house. I've been waiting all season for you to say that to me, and you haven't.
No, because I'm an adult. You can find me on Twitter at Rich King FF or KFancy_sports. And my website is kingfancysports.com.
Get cocky now. He's putting it without even asking. Liam, where can we find you, buddy?
Yes, and my Twitter is @DolphinAbroad.
And
my website is the dolphinabroad.wordpress.com.
Lovely. You can find me on Twitter @Jamie_Byrom, BYROM_ again, or @SeasonLongDFS. The website is www.seasonlongdfs.com. It's going to be a good weekend. Saturday and Sunday of football this week, lads.
Happy days.
Quite looking forward to it. Good luck in the playoff challenge this week. And good luck in any other DFS tournaments you play. And I'm sure we will catch up same time next week.
Definitely.
Yeah,
enjoy, boys. Enjoy.